I think I'm a special one.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
All right, so we're back for segment 2 of this podcast. Like we talked about before, so we talked some tactics, some Premier League. So now we're talking promotion relegation in the U.S. USL Championship comes out a couple weeks ago now, and says they are bringing it up to the owners to vote on it, right? It's up to the owners. Can they implement promotion relegation? What does it mean? So Chad, you want to take it away? Lead us off?
Yeah, so it's up for vote for the owners. The whole idea is to create promotion relegation between USL's leagues. So USL has 2 professional leagues, one, what do they say, pre-professional league. So the pro leagues are the Championship, League 1, and then League 2 is the pre-professional. Mm-hmm. The whole idea is to then add a 3rd professional league. People believe, I don't know if this comes from USL directly or what, that the 3rd professional league would be in between Championship and League 1. So they would kind of like funnel teams from both of those leagues into a middle league. They kind of did something similar over in Australia because they're implementing promotion relegation. But what else? It's also being considered that USL could get League 1 sanctioning, so a first division league.
So to me, I don't think it's being considered. I think USL.
That's what they're pushing for.
They're pushing for, but to me, USL. Kind of a different argument. I'll get into my argument in a sec, but to get Division 1 sanctioning, there's plenty of you have to be in a certain market. So your market has to have a certain population. You have to have a stadium that's, could be like in MLS. There's new stadium rules where your stadium has to be in downtown or a location in downtown. I don't think those are U.S. soccer rules. I think they're just MLS rules. But then there's so there's the size of the size of the market, size of the stadium, all that kind of stuff. So all of that stuff is pretty unattainable. And only attainable with like MLS and MLS money. So that's the challenging part, is that it would be difficult to get Division 1 sanctioning because MLS kind of already has it. And that's been one of the arguments the whole time, is that even a big guy with huge money, I think the guy that owned Miami FC or the Cosmos or somebody, funded this study 6 or 7 years ago by Deloitte, talking about the feasibility of promotion relegation. And they basically said it was possible, but the sanctioning for Division 1 was so outlandish that only one entity could get it, and it was MLS. And it was never based on sporting merit.
Well, obviously you got territory rights too, so you can't just have another team pop up in right? Is territory rights for USL?
Well, USL has their own territory rights, so
is it different than MLS?
Yeah, USL's its own league, so they could have.
So if Philadelphia wanted a USL team, could they?
Yeah, they would have to buy a franchise.
But it would be hard because there's already a Philadelphia team. I don't think Philadelphia needs another team. You know what I'm trying to say?
I think Philadelphia could support a USL team.
But it would have to start lower. I don't.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at the names of the leagues, Championship, League 1, League 2, sounds very similar to England, and England has the Premier League at the top. I think it would make more sense to put, if you do add the 3rd league, to put it at the top. Maybe that's the one that gets League 1 sanctioning, USL Premier League. Because it's easier to promote teams up to a higher division to balance out the leagues than it is to relegate some down.
All right, but I don't think that matters really at all in the grand scheme of things. To me, you saw this news and you were pumped. You're like, dude, we're getting pro-rel. It's going to be awesome. It's the point of promotion relegation is to, one, be able to get to the top, right? So if you don't have Division One sanctioning, right? Everyone kind of knows MLS for the foreseeable future is the top of U.S. soccer, right? But if USL Championship, USL Premier League, whatever, could get Division One sanctioning, it's seen as the top. It's not really the top, but like that would still be pretty cool. I think we could see investors really going for that. If it's not open from the bottom, to me, it doesn't mean anything.
But it is open towards the bottom.
It's more accessible, yes. I think it needs to be like fully open. I think it's a cool idea because you could still get some movement up and down. But there needs to be an incentive to invest in the team and an infrastructure that would reap the rewards after getting promoted. You're at the top.
Well, ideally, you would buy a team at a lower price in the bottom division, hopefully to make money as they go up the tiers.
To me, I just see like, okay, if you're just Division II USL Championship and you get promoted or relegated to let's say you get relegated to League One, like what's the point? Like, why would you invest the extra resources and care so much? Like, why is it a benefit to stay in at the bottom of USL Championship when you could just straight up be a USL League One team and maybe be good? You don't have to pay your players as much. The budgets are much lower, and have a successful season. It would be like taking a team in the USL 2 that's just like a summer team. They're somewhat successful, make a little bit of money. Why would they want to get promoted to USL League 1 and change their whole business structure when the reward isn't that great?
But like that's kind of like the point, though. Like, let's say, what's a bad MLS team? Colorado. You think they're happy being bottom of that league?
Well, they're obviously not trying hard enough.
So they would probably enjoy more in the second division, right?
No, not even close.
I saw a poll on Twitter, and it was most people were voting like, if your team was at the bottom of a league of the first division, would you rather be stuck at the bottom, closed system, or be consistently fighting, be top part of the second division?
No,
most people voted top of the second division.
So why were you cheering for Everton staying up in the Premier League? Because
I want to see them in the Premier League.
Nobody's actually saying I want my team.
Because they're known for being in the Premier League.
Nobody's saying that they want their team there. But when it's a business case, they'll take whatever league. Like, by staying in the Premier League, you're in the Premier League, you're with the big dogs. By going from the top of USL League 1 to the bottom of USL Championship, there's not a gap there. There's no reward. There's no true benefit of it. You need the true benefit of being able, whether it's just a thought or not, whether it's just a pipe dream or not, of going all the way to the top.
Yes, but what's the negative? You're not telling me the negative. You're just telling me what's the point. But you're trying to say there's no positive. But what's the negative of it?
The negative would just be the logistics of trying to run all of these teams across the country with not a huge budget, and the only gain you would get from pro-rel, right? You'd be running
with not a huge budget. Then if that's the case, then there's never going to be promotion relegation.
Hold on, with the huge gain is what brings the bigger budget, the bigger TV money and fans, because of that dream of getting eventually to the top, right? You might not never get the top, but to say that you're normally in this league, but you had a good season with some extra investment, you can get to the next league. But without that, there's no incentive to try and.
Dude, you're also comparing it to the best leagues in the world over in Europe. They're never going to get promoted to the Premier League, which is the richest league. That's impossible. We're here in America. There's got to be a league that you got to build a team around, right?
But I'm saying
maybe it is just buying. I don't know how much a League One team costs, like an expansion team. But maybe it goes up when you go up a tier. Maybe it goes up again, and maybe the owners from El Paso
Locomotive
folded. But maybe it pops up again now that there's promotion relegation. And maybe a local guy from El Paso.
I don't think El Paso folded, by the way. I thought they were still good.
My bad. I haven't been watching much USL, I guess. But
I'm saying that it needs to be an open system. My argument is
it not a start, though?
We don't need promotion relegation. We need an open system. Maybe it is a start, but the plan should be to open it from the bottom. And maybe the plan should be we have tons of these regional leagues. And to get promoted, if you win your regional league twice in 5 years, something like that. Even if it's semi-unrealistic, you still need somewhat of an ability to work your way up. And then maybe you take a club with a new investor, invest money, invest in the infrastructure. But what I'm saying is, if you took, right, it's got to be more than just the current USL Championship, the current USL League One. You can't just move teams up and down that. That's essentially useless. The only gain you're getting is
wouldn't
hold
be,
on.
though. It would all be basically one league.
I get it, but this is just part of my argument. The only gain you're getting from that is the fact that maybe a few more people tune in like towards the end of the year when you're way out of playoffs and it's like, oh, are we going to stay up in the league? But like, do you really care about staying up in that league? You don't know. Like, you don't know because the value of being in USL Championship without Division I sanctioning, without a truly open system, isn't as big.
You're being negative about it for no reason, though. Like, would you not be interested in USL more if there's promotion relegation? Come on now, answer that question. Answer it.
I mean, I would, but like, I don't think it moves the needle.
It's to draw people to the league, and maybe it's a start. We talk about it all the time, though. With like, you got the NPSL teams, USL 2 teams, UPSL teams, all these local teams who are basically playing the same level. They're all in the same tier, but they're all in different leagues. There's more leagues as you go down. It can be regional, but they need to like all be playing for like the same thing.
Oh, I agree. The system, yes. So like that's kind of what I'm saying with the open league, right? Like, would I like USL more? Would I pay more attention? Yes. If it's a start, then yes. If it's only going to stay that, and the only way to get in is if it's promotion relegation, but with an MLS model to it, where you still have to buy the franchise fee to get into the bottom league, then no, I don't want it, because it's essentially just a cheaper version of MLS with a couple extra steps to it.
Yeah.
But if it's an open system where you could get to the top, but also sporting merit, get your way up from the bottom, then yes, let's do it. But also, I would hope that teams would kind of bond together, right? So USL 2, the pre-professional league, would probably stay as is, but maybe there's other leagues that compete to get promoted up into that first USL pro league. But there's enough like semi-pro amateur teams where these clubs could like take on investment, take on like a new identity of trying to work their way up the ranks. I think the biggest benefit from an open system is the fact that you keep players in the game longer. You get these coaches, players, analysts, all of this like weird stuff, like technical directors that could start at a bottom level and like test their theories, methods, skills, whatever, and maybe one or two of them pop and like they work their way up. Like maybe a coach like does really well in like the third tier, and maybe he just takes a job further up. But with only MLS, that's very rare. And with the MLS setup, with USL Championship and USL League One, you very rarely see a coach do really well in one league and get hired up tiers. Same thing with player movement. The only player movement is really like MLS Next Pro into MLS.
Yeah, I'm sure you already get a decent amount of that in USL leagues, and it's not even open right now.
I don't know if there's a whole lot of like. Do you think USL 1 teams are scouting USL 2 teams? Are USL Championships scouting USL 1 and also finding the most innovative coach to bring in? Are they trying to hire the best staff?
USL Championship teams are definitely scouting USL 1 teams.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, I also think too. I feel like USL League One in that like area, that level of team, have almost an advantage because there's so much like good like amateur soccer in this country, like that just never had the opportunity. That if they do somehow stay in the system, you keep them in the system, they're getting those open tryouts and like random trialists at the USL League One level. So you're getting the entry level into those guys, right? If you could open the system, now those entry level first time professionals are coming in at the lowest levels, and now like those teams can start building a scouting network to get those guys in, and now you're buying players from the lower levels, and now you have a true ecosystem. Right now, you're lucky if you balled out in NPSL this summer and maybe got a trial with Chattanooga Red Wolves, and then they liked you, and then maybe New Mexico United liked you. Like, that's just like a very rare chance that you impressed at an open tryout and impressed at this. But if you can like get these players in at the lower levels and then start the buying, the selling, heck, maybe even the loaning player, that's where like the magic of it's the open system. That's where that happens, not in promotion relegation itself. I think when people talk about pro-rel and they only talk about, oh, the pressure to win and like the pressure's on every game. That's such a small part of that.
I agree with that.
That's 15% of it to me. The real thing is when a club can pop up not out of nowhere, but through like a hard work and like a community based. And then when the players are given chances to stay in the game longer and coaches are given chances to stay in the game longer, then media and there's more podcasts, there's more this and that. That's where the benefit is. It's the open system.
It's just, I think another big question around it is like, can a team survive going up a league too? Like Atlantic City FC. Like if we got promoted, could we continue to play in? Say we just got promoted to USL 1. Like, could we like continue to go and play like teams who are playing in like big stadiums or like be able to cover like the travel, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's why just like there are standards to it. Like,
but yeah, so like you would need an owner who's like has the money to do so. Like owners of all the teams in Europe have owners to pay for that kind of stuff. You'd make money from the fans. You would make money from selling players on. Right? You would try to be like strategic with building a roster. Okay?
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
I think you need it has to be like the bottom of the pyramid doesn't have to be professional necessarily, but you need to be able to field local teams for longer without the need of without the help of college soccer, if you know what I mean, like these like summer teams like NPSL and USL2 do. Like, they don't have to be separate. Maybe there's ways to earn spots into the league through both the summer and, like, these full-time leagues. But I think as soon as you open that up or say that there's going to be open up, like, think about, like, what if, teams in our area, Atlantic City FC or FC Motown or Westchester United, just, like, say, we're going to field teams, like, throughout the year, and that's going to be our base of players, and we're, like, legitimately going for promotion into this league. Like, now these teams start gearing up for that. And, like, the quality of play just gets, like, insane, you know?
And I would take away the whole thing about the stadiums, too. Like, maybe at some point you need a certain stadium, but you only need to fit your fans, right? Like
like in NPSL, you need a locker room, and it has to be
that
certain
stuff
size.
You might need.
Yeah.
I might even say no football lines.
Yeah, I don't think that's easy to do, but I agree. I think what we should just have more people doing is like building up temporary stands at like a local like youth park and just have like try and make the nicest like 11v11 grass field. Like to me, like playing at high school stadiums, like no football lines would be a great start. Maybe the stadium infrastructure is not there for some of these clubs either.
So like back to USL, like I would like to see it. Even if it fails, like I don't even know if it would or wouldn't. I have no idea how it would work. You wouldn't want to just like see it happen, or you're content with letting MLS like because when we think of like the pro-rel with the USL, that's the American League. MLS is like I've changed my whole like perspective on it. Like MLS is just off to the side. It's like
it's the American Super League.
USL is like bang 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 up. And then MLS just off to the side.
I mean,
like,
USL could theoretically, they could still bring in like foreign players, but USL could be the ecosystem for American, like the pipeline of American talent. I would like to see it, right? My thing is, I don't want it to just stop there. I want the system to be open. If that has to start with 5 or 10 years of like promotion relegation between these three, and then eventually opening it, like I guess I'm okay with that. But it has to be that next progression, and like it just can't stop there.
I really think the leagues like NPSL, USL2 are really good leagues, and like some players like make the jump up and do well. So I think those caliber of players right there is like good. Now the next level is maybe where they can start to get better. It's just like that next level because there's nothing really to go up from there. You know, we get to that level of the fourth tier, you're saying, but anything above that, maybe that's where we need to improve.
I think there's so much talent in the fourth tier that like maybe not every team has all the talent, but if you create an all-star team, if you grouped every like NPSL USL 2 team in like 5 groups and took all of the talent, made like an all-star team, like that team would be really good of just like local like amateur players, maybe guys in college or just finished college. So like this would give them the opportunity. These clubs would pop up, hopefully, giving them the opportunity to now compete and move up the ladder. And then as the leagues go on, you now kind of find your place on where that pool of talent like settles. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe these like established pro teams find themselves at the top, where these like more local based teams like consistently stay towards the bottom of the pro tier, and that's fine. But now it's based on something rather than just based on like money and owners and like finding players on like tryouts and stuff like that.
And really, is the bottom, if we do USL, is it really? Never mind. I'm not gonna get into it, but
all right. Then the last thing I'll say is like I would support it. Like I think USL could gain steam if they could lay out an effective plan that could get all of the promotion relegation, all of the open system truthers behind them. Because if they do, then you're getting like a whole like second wave of just like soccer like nutcases. You know what I mean? In a good way. If it's just like, hey, we're doing some pro-rel, like hopefully you'll watch and like tune in to ESPN Plus. That's not going to fly for like most of the people that want to see soccer at the next level. If you could like lay out a plan to open the system and create the actual ecosystem, people are buying and selling and trading and it's merit based, like then you have like the backing of these people who will then like be second, third generation soccer people.
Yeah. And it's just like people out there like podcasts and Twitter, it's like, we need pro-rel, we need pro-rel. Okay, we get it. Like, what is how do you want it? Like, no one's really explaining it. Some people out there just complain about American soccer. It's like, what are you gonna do about it? Like, what's a good solution?
Yeah,
it's just like,
and I'm a big believer. Like, you talk to some people and they're all about like the elite player. Like, what's the top academy? How's our pathway to pro for our top 15, 16-year-old? Like, to me, I think the future and like the best players, like they might be those guys. Those guys are going to develop anyway. Those guys, the best players will probably be the best players no matter what, right? You might gain that extra 5 to 10% of their ability by putting them in the right system. But like having something like this to keep like late bloomers and the guys who maybe coming off an injury, maybe didn't get a chance, maybe there's other reasons why they didn't make it, giving those guys an opportunity to stay in the game and fill out the rest of the league. Now you have a promising youngster. You could stick him into this league and have him compete against like legitimate professional teams. Or maybe you're a 23-year-old and you're a late bloomer. Now you have 2 to 3 years where you could really fight your way up the ladder. Maybe there's like ways to get other talent into this country that wasn't possible before. I just feel like the possibilities are like kind of endless if we do it right.
I would love to talk about this more. Like I wasn't really prepared for a whole
these are
talk.
just kind of like
I would
thoughts,
love to like write down more of my thoughts and talk about it a little more.
Yep, we can do that soon. But all right, that's it, right? It's the end of the segment.
Yep, end of part 2. Just want to shout out our boys over at Informed Sportswear again. Like I said, top quality grip socks on the market. If you're a player, these are the ones. Don't be overspending for some grip socks to come in with okay quality. Get good quality and a good price. Informed Sportswear. You can check them out in on the Half Turns podcast bio on Instagram. At Informed Sportswear on Instagram and TikTok. informedsportswear.com. And then use the code HALFTURN, all caps, one word, for a discount on your purchase.
All right, sounds good.